Another day in the office for Tom there. It's Friday. Hello, everybody. Molly Karam here with you. Skip Bayless is in New York and Stephen A. Smith is in Cleveland. Hello, gentlemen. Good morning.
What's up, what's up, what's up? How y'all doing?
Good morning. Stephen A., for once, I'm in New York, you're in Cleveland. I miss my people in Cleveland. Cleveland loves me. They wanted me to be the mayor last year, but I had to go home.
Well, I really don't believe that. We all know they didn't want you to be the mayor. I'm in Cleveland tonight, the Cavs home opener against the Miami Heat. And Skip Bayless, guess who is co-hosting the 6 o'clock Sports Center tonight? For the first time in my career, I'm co-hosting Sports Center. I'm nervous as hell, okay? I just want you to know that. So I'm warning you in advance. Don't come laughing at me because of how pathetic I looked on Monday. Promise me you'll do that.
Stephen
right
A. gets nervous?
Go ahead.
All right. We appreciate you guys starting your weekend here with us on First Take. Redskins wide receiver Pierre Garçon, speaking of co-hosts, he's in the house. We'll talk to him in a few about all things Washington and the NFC East. About last night, the Patriots crushed the Dolphins in Foxborough. New England is now the third team to start 7-0 while averaging at least 35 points per game, and the other two teams both reached the Super Bowl, the 2007 Pats and 2009 Saints. According to Football Power Index, the Patriots are favored in every game throughout the rest of the regular season. Skip, could the Pats go undefeated?
Stephen A., I don't want to jinx them. We all know that we often hear that the NFL stands for not for long. We all know that ultimately injuries often tell the tale in this league. And I don't want to wish any injuries upon the New England Patriots. But I got to tell you, after what I've seen so far this year, I think they have a very good shot of winning every game. I'm not talking about every regular season game. I'm talking about all the way home, 19-0. I'm talking about a quarterback who showed us once again last night he is playing at a level no quarterback in the history of this league has consistently maintained. It's almost like same time next week. Stephen A., I get tired of coming here to tell you, gee, ho-hum, another masterpiece. The Dolphins were riding high, just like the Jets were riding high before, just like the Bills were riding high early in this year. And Tom Brady picked the Dolphins to pieces. Tom Brady has no offensive line to speak of. It is the least experienced, most decimated, weakest offensive line in all of pro football. And last night it lost another member. I don't know if you noticed, Trey Jackson, he limps off. So they started with only 6 healthy offensive linemen last night, wound up with 5. A couple may be getting healthy here pretty soon, I hope, for Tom Brady's sake. But it just doesn't matter. As I told you yesterday, I laughingly said, half-kiddingly said, Tom Brady could go out there without an offensive line. Just have the free agent, undrafted rookie, David Andrews, snapping the ball. You don't need any guards or tackles because he's operating at such a supreme level, getting rid of the ball so quickly, making the correct choice so quickly that he just slices and dices every defense. He has made a star out of Julian Edelman. Obviously, Gronkowski is a superstar. But little Dion Lewis, they took off the scrap heap out of football for 2 years, and all of a sudden, he's the spark plug of the offense. It's all because of number 12. And allow me to say, Stephen A., that defense is starting to actually almost measure up to the offense. There's no better offense in pro football right now, but this defense is really starting to impress me. It got after Ryan Tannehill. 5 sacks, whole lot of hurries and pressures, all over him all night, 2 interceptions, and Lamar Miller, who had just gone for 175 rush yards against the Houston Texans. Remember Molly saying, boy, he balled out, and he did against the Texans. Well, he got balled up last night because he goes 9 rushes for 15 yards. And remember Jonas Gray, breakout star in New England last year for the Dolphins? He carried twice for 1 yard. That's it. they shut down the Miami Dolphins, who were suddenly the hottest team in pro football. And Stephen A., they're leaving these teams on the canvas with crushed confidence. It's hard. You know, the Bills never quite bounced back from what Tom Brady did to them. We'll see if the Jets can bounce back as they go to Oakland. And now the Dolphins have to be asking themselves, were we just an aberration, a quick fluke in the middle of the NFL season with a new head coach? So I look down the schedule and I say, at Denver, yeah, it'll be a battle. I like Brady over Peyton. And then at the Jets, December 27th, I don't know. I still like Brady even against Revis and Cromartie and Buster Screen. I still like him. And then in the postseason, there's a Cincinnati, there's a Denver, maybe even there's a Jets for the third time. Do I still like them to win those games in Foxborough? I got to tell you, I do. Do I like them to beat whoever comes out of the NFC? I must tell you, if they stay healthy, and that's always a huge if, I do. I'm just here to tell you, after last night, I sat back and said, is 19-0 just beyond comprehension? No, it's becoming more and more realistic. Your thoughts?
Well, it's becoming more and more realistic. I'll give you that. I just think that it's funny watching you get so emotional, sitting there and sighing and, you know, contemplating like, oh, my Lord, the world will come to an end if they ended up 15-1 or 14-2. That's literally how you sound, which is laughable to me. So what if they lose a game or two? It doesn't make any difference. They'll still have the #1 overall seed in the AFC. The road to the Super Bowl will have to go through Foxborough. And on top of all of that, they'll still be the favorites to go back to the Super Bowl. But once again, here you are getting your emotions into the mix and getting to the point where you're looking so worried that if they ended up losing a game, it's going to be the end of the world. Pump the brakes and relax. Worst case scenario is that they'll lose 1 or 2 games. They'll still be in position to repeat as Super Bowl champions. So there's nothing for you to really get up in a tizzy about. That's point number 1. Point number 2, against the Miami Dolphins last night, that wasn't really that much of a test because Ryan Tannehill and the Miami Dolphins offense really couldn't do much against a Patriots defense that I think it's time for us to start giving some love to. A sack by Hightower, 2 sacks by Chandler Jones, a sack by McCourty, a sack by Nikovich. You look at this defense and the way that they're playing, they're neutralizing a lot of people. They bend sometimes, but it's always when they have a lead and they get a little bit relaxed and they take their foot off the pedal, and as a result, they end up having some problems. It is rare that anybody gets a head start on the New England Patriots, with the exception of the Indianapolis Colts when they ran downfield and did what they did in their opening drive against the New England Patriots before the Patriots ramrodded them. In the end, what it comes down to is their schedule. We look at Tom Brady, we see Rob Gronkowski, we see Edelman, we see Amendola. Eventually, LaFleur will start catching passes. And, of course, this kid, Dion Lewis, has some skills and appears to be another find by Bill Belichick. So when we look at it from that perspective, there is no denying that the New England Patriots, it is definitely plausible that they could go undefeated. What I would say to you is this. They've got 3 potential roadblocks. I would throw the New York Giants in there. I mean, I'm just looking at their schedule right now. In 2 weeks when they play the Giants, week 10, even though they should win that game, the Patriots primarily throw the football, and the Giants, their front 7, can't really stop the run. So maybe they'll change it up, and LeGarrette Blount and Dion Lewis will have a big-time day. But outside of that, particularly if somehow, some way, Victor Cruz, Odell Beckham Jr. and Ruben Randle are on the field for once at the same time, I'd be interested to see in that matchup at MetLife Stadium. That would definitely interest me, although I would concede that New England would probably win that game. The Broncos are a toss-up on November 29th, Skip. And the reason I say that is because of that defense. That defense is big time. And if there is a game where I think that Peyton Manning will play lights out, it's in the Mile High City when New England comes to town on November 29th. No matter what issues he's got going on with that offense at this moment in time, they will be ready, especially if New England comes in there on November 29th undefeated, because I think everybody and their grandmama is going to be talking about the possibility of the New England Patriots running the table for this entire season, and the Broncos will be up for that game, especially that defense with that secondary, with Von Miller targeting Brady all night long. You know, I definitely think that's a possibility. So I would say Denver is a toss-up right now, and then the Jets on December 27th. I think the Jets are going to win that game. I think the Jets will be hyped and ready on December 27th to handle their business. I think the Jets are going to win that game. And I think that if by chance New England gets beyond that and they end up 15-0 and then they're at Miami to close out the season, Miami with Ndamukong Suh, hopefully Cameron Wake will be back by then. Hopefully he'll be okay. I think coming into that, if they were to come in there 15-0, if they lose to the Jets, they'll beat Miami. But if they beat the Jets and they beat the Broncos and they're 15-0 and they go to Miami, Miami will have nothing to lose, and I always think that's a dangerous proposition. My last comment, however, will be this. If they happen to go undefeated, let me be very, very clear, although I'm picking Seattle to still win the Super Bowl, Skip, nothing would make me happier than to finally shut that dude up in Miami who consistently sits there and says, don't call me, you know, when you're in my neighborhood. Call me when you're on my block. You understand what I'm saying? I got brain locked for a second. You know who I'm talking about, the Miami Dolphins. That's right, the Mercury Morris. That's it. I mean, that guy right there. I like him. Don't get me wrong. But my Lord, we've been listening to him echo that sentiment for what? In excess of 40 years. I am so sick and tired of hearing that from him. I want that slogan just removed from the American lexicon. So I would be very, very happy in that regard. But I don't see it happening. I think the Patriots will end up losing at least one of these games. Giants, Broncos, Jets, or Miami.
Real quick, guys, we have an update on Cameron Wake's injury. He did tear his Achilles and is out for the year. Oh, my Lord. He tore his Achilles? Mm-hmm. He's done for the year. Well, that's a wrap. Forget about Miami. Let's go with the Giants, the Broncos, and the Jets as possibilities. Forget Miami.
It was pretty obvious last night when he lay prone on the ground just looking up to the heavens that something really bad had happened, and then he needed assistance getting off the field. And when they said Achilles, I was pretty sure he was done. I wasn't. When I saw him looking up, because usually when I see somebody suffer from an Achilles, they're usually writhing in pain as opposed to just laying there and looking up. But they're usually dumbfounded. You usually have no idea what hit you because it feels like you got shot in the calf. Exactly. And you just can't figure out what happened. So it's the worst injury in all of sports to me and the most mysterious. Now, back to your opening salvo about how laughable my emotions were about this. The question was, do I think there's a possibility they could win all 19 games? I do. But the question was not, am I worried that they're going to lose one or two games? Obviously, I'm not worried because they're still going to win the Super Bowl if they lose 2 games, because I think the rest of the teams are going to wind up losing 2 games. But then you were wishy-washy as usual, going back and forth, riding the fence, on and off. Are you picking them to lose how many games? Just 1 more game or 3 more games? Because I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I am sure that I don't believe they'll go undefeated. That's why I picked one of the 3. I said I'm not sure they'll go how many games they'll lose, but I don't believe they will go undefeated. I believe they're going to lose one of those 3, the Giants, the Broncos, or the Jets. And if I had to pick one of the teams right now, it would be the Broncos. If I had to pick 2, it would be the Broncos and the Jets before it were the Giants, with the Giants having an outside chance at MetLife Stadium. So you're on the record they will lose at the Broncos. That's your prediction. I believe they will lose 1 game this year, and I believe it will be at the Broncos. At least 1 game. That will be at the Broncos. All right. That's all I needed to hear. Thank you.